time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what
you
my
tell-
time is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
A Senate Judiciary Committee hearing erupted into one of the most heated exchanges of the year when Senator Cory Booker confronted FBI Director Kash Patel over the direction of the Bureau. Booker accused Patel of weakening the FBI, undermining institutional expertise, and putting national security at risk. Patel fired back, defending his record and citing major increases in arrests, child rescues, drug seizures, and counterintelligence operations. Watch the full exchange first, then we'll examine the competing claims, the FBI statistics cited during the hearing, and what this clash reveals about the growing debate over the Bureau's future.
I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this, I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country.
That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is my
I follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tears
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not
Senator,
take
it is
my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what
you
my
tell-
time is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman.
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A a double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrested them? Why have we 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year? 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we're taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the deaths of 607,000 people this year alone, a failure of the FBI and my leadership? How is it that we have counterintelligence arrests already this year exceeding the numbers from the entirety of last year? 33% increase in PRC, 83% in Russia, 60% in the CI space as it relates to Iran, and we haven't even talked about CT, the southern border, the northern border.
What viewers just witnessed was not simply a disagreement between a senator and an FBI director. It was a broader argument about the future of federal law enforcement, institutional trust, political accountability, and how the performance of the FBI should be measured. Senator Cory Booker delivered one of the most forceful criticisms of FBI Director Kash Patel seen in Congress since Patel took office. His remarks went far beyond questioning specific policies. Instead, Booker challenged Patel's overall leadership and argued that decisions made under his tenure have weakened the Bureau and reduced its effectiveness. Booker's criticism focused on several themes. First, he argued that experienced personnel have left the FBI in significant numbers. Throughout the Bureau's history, institutional knowledge has been one of its greatest assets. Senior agents often spend decades developing expertise in organized crime, counterintelligence, cyber threats, public corruption, terrorism investigations, and complex financial crimes. When experienced personnel leave, agencies can lose not only manpower but also specialized knowledge that takes years to replace. Booker's argument was that the FBI has lost too many experienced professionals in too short a period of time. He suggested that departures and personnel changes have created gaps that could affect the Bureau's long-term effectiveness. This is an important issue because modern law enforcement increasingly depends on expertise rather than simple manpower. Cyber investigations, foreign intelligence operations, and complex criminal enterprises require highly specialized skills that cannot be developed overnight. Booker also highlighted concerns about staffing levels. He referenced previous testimony regarding the time required to fill vacancies and argued that workforce shortages could affect the Bureau's ability to respond to emerging threats. This reflects a challenge facing many federal agencies. Recruiting qualified personnel for highly specialized positions has become increasingly difficult. Competition from the private sector, lengthy hiring processes, security clearance requirements, and retirement trends all contribute to staffing pressures. The senator's concern was not simply about numbers but about capacity. His argument was that losing experienced personnel while simultaneously facing recruitment challenges could weaken the FBI's ability to perform critical missions. Another major point of contention involved immigration enforcement. Booker argued that federal law enforcement resources are increasingly being directed toward immigration-related operations. He suggested that agents who might otherwise be focused on counterterrorism, organized crime, public corruption, or foreign influence investigations are being diverted toward other priorities. This debate extends far beyond the FBI. Across multiple administrations, policymakers have argued about how federal agencies should allocate resources. Some believe stronger immigration enforcement is essential to national security and public safety. Others argue that shifting resources toward immigration can reduce attention given to other criminal threats. The disagreement is ultimately about priorities rather than whether laws should be enforced. Booker also raised concerns regarding public corruption investigations, election security efforts, and foreign influence operations. These areas have become increasingly important in recent years due to concerns about cyber threats, foreign intelligence activities, election interference, and efforts by hostile governments to influence American institutions. Supporters of these programs argue they are essential to protecting democratic institutions and national security. Critics sometimes argue that such efforts have expanded beyond their original mission or have become politicized. This ongoing debate helps explain why congressional oversight of the FBI remains so contentious. One of the most politically sensitive topics raised by Booker involved the Epstein files. For years, public interest in the Epstein investigation has remained intense. Questions surrounding evidence, sealed records, witness statements, and potential co-conspirators continue to generate controversy. Booker accused Patel of failing to deliver promised transparency regarding those records. Whether one agrees with that criticism or not, the exchange reflects a broader issue facing federal law enforcement agencies. Public expectations for transparency often collide with legal restrictions, privacy protections, evidentiary concerns, and ongoing investigative considerations. The challenge for agencies is balancing legitimate public interest against legal obligations and investigative responsibilities. Booker's remarks also touched on concerns regarding agency independence. Throughout modern American history, there has been a strong expectation that federal law enforcement agencies operate independently from political influence. When critics believe decisions are being driven by politics rather than evidence and law, concerns about institutional credibility often emerge. Booker's statements reflected those concerns. He suggested that loyalty to political leaders should never outweigh loyalty to the Constitution and the rule of law. This argument has been made by members of both parties at different times throughout American history whenever concerns arise about the relationship between law enforcement agencies and elected officials. The most dramatic moment came when Booker predicted that Patel might not remain in his position for long. That statement transformed what had been a policy-focused criticism into a highly personal confrontation. The exchange immediately escalated. Patel rejected Booker's characterization entirely and argued that the senator's remarks ignored measurable results achieved during his tenure. His response reflected a very different philosophy regarding leadership evaluation. Instead of focusing on organizational culture, staffing decisions, or media controversies, Patel focused on operational outcomes. He cited arrest numbers, drug seizures, child exploitation investigations, human trafficking cases, violent crime enforcement, and counterintelligence operations. This is a common defense used by law enforcement leaders facing criticism. The argument is straightforward. Results matter more than rhetoric. Patel pointed to statistics that he argued demonstrate effectiveness. According to his testimony, the Bureau has increased arrests of violent offenders, expanded efforts against child predators, disrupted human trafficking networks, seized significant quantities of narcotics, and increased counterintelligence operations involving foreign adversaries. From Patel's perspective, those outcomes are the most important indicators of success. The statistics he referenced cover several areas that have become major priorities for federal law enforcement. Drug trafficking remains a significant concern, particularly regarding fentanyl. Federal officials from both parties have repeatedly warned about the dangers posed by synthetic opioids. Even relatively small quantities can be lethal, making interdiction efforts a major priority. Human trafficking and child exploitation investigations have also become increasingly prominent. These cases often require extensive coordination between federal, state, local, and international law enforcement agencies. Counterintelligence operations remain another critical mission. The United States continues to face espionage threats from multiple foreign governments. Investigations involving foreign intelligence activities often require years of work and extensive coordination across agencies. By emphasizing these areas, Patel attempted to redirect attention away from political criticism and toward measurable enforcement activity. The clash therefore revealed two fundamentally different ways of evaluating the FBI. Booker's framework focused on institutional health. His concerns centered on leadership decisions, staffing levels, morale, organizational culture, transparency, and independence. Patel's framework focused on operational performance. His defense emphasized arrests, investigations, prosecutions, intelligence operations, and measurable enforcement outcomes. Neither framework is inherently illegitimate. In fact, both are important. A law enforcement agency can produce strong statistics while still facing questions about leadership, morale, or institutional trust. Likewise, an agency can have strong internal culture while struggling to achieve operational goals. The challenge is balancing both dimensions simultaneously. Another reason this exchange attracted attention is because it reflects broader political divisions regarding federal law enforcement. Public trust in institutions has become increasingly polarized. Some Americans believe agencies like the FBI have become politicized and require major reforms. Others believe attacks on those institutions risk undermining confidence in agencies that play a critical role in protecting public safety. As a result, debates about FBI leadership often become symbolic arguments about larger questions involving government, accountability, transparency, and public trust. The hearing also demonstrated the unique role Congress plays in overseeing federal agencies. Oversight hearings are not merely opportunities for lawmakers to criticize agency leaders. They also serve as public forums where competing narratives are presented directly to the American people. In this case, viewers heard two sharply different assessments of the FBI. One assessment portrayed an institution weakened by leadership decisions, personnel losses, and misplaced priorities. The other portrayed an institution producing stronger enforcement results, disrupting criminal networks, rescuing victims, and protecting national security. Ultimately, viewers must evaluate those competing claims for themselves. The most important takeaway from this hearing is that debates about law enforcement are rarely only about numbers. They are also about values, priorities, accountability, and public confidence. Whether one finds Booker's criticism persuasive or Patel's defense compelling, the exchange highlighted a central question that will likely continue shaping discussions about the FBI for years to come. How should the success of America's premier federal law enforcement agency be measured? By arrests and operational statistics? By institutional credibility and public trust? Or by some combination of both? That question remains at the center of this debate, and hearings like this one ensure that it stays in front of the American people. If you found this analysis valuable, share your thoughts below. Do you believe FBI leadership should primarily be judged by enforcement results, or do leadership style, transparency, and institutional trust matter just as much? Let us know, and subscribe to Capitol Oversight for more in-depth coverage of major hearings from Washington.